First bill on the calendar for the day is Senate File 307. The clerk will report the bill.
Senate File number 307, number 1 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to public safety, the first engrossment.
I recognize the member from Winona, Representative Pulowski, to your bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. This bill simply restores the solvency to the disaster account. In December of last year, Public Safety sent a memo to House and Senate leadership that the account was almost exhausted. This begins a two-step process. This process will restore the solvency to the account, and then there will be another process with approximately $20 million, which is in the governor's budget and in the House budget, that will ensure that the account is solvent over the times that we are not in session.
There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Jurgens moves to amend Senate File number 307. The first engrossment as follows. The amendment is coded A1.
The member from Washington, Representative Jurgens.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank Representative Pulowski for his work to create the disaster assistance contingency account. For the most part, this account, since its inception, has done exactly as it was supposed to do. The one issue that has come up is that, as he stated, the account right now is insolvent. The one issue is that the fund runs out of money. Now, the intent of this disaster account was to be able to react to natural disasters when we're not in session, so that a special session is not needed. The other side of this is if the account runs out of funds, it's as if it doesn't exist at all, and we still would need to come back for a special session. What my amendment does is it funds to a greater extent this account now, not later. It replaces $10 million with $23 million for 2019 and $20 million for 2020. $3 million of which would be designated for funds that is already owed from flooding last year in St. Louis County. According to the Department of Public Safety, they're expecting in excess of $2.5 million in invoices still to come. So if we appropriate $10 million, $2.5 million to $3 million right out of the chute is going to be gone. Now, we don't know what disasters are going to occur. We do know that we've had record flooding in February. We do know that there's been sandbagging all over the state, including when the governor was in my district on Saturday to sandbag, along with Congresswoman Angie Craig. We have cities, we have counties all over the state of Minnesota that are worried about flooding. Now, if that flooding takes place while we're here in session, we can react. But do we really want to take the chance that flooding in our district becomes a political pawn towards the end of session, that it gets tied up with amendments and other political maneuvers, gets tied up in an omnibus bill that perhaps gets vetoed? I think that we owe it to our districts, we owe it to our constituents to, I'll say, fully fund this, but the truth is, we don't even know if my amendment would fully fund it, because we don't know what disasters might occur. Do we really want to take a chance that these funds are fully depleted before we even get to the tornado season? Straight line winds, forest fires, those are all natural disasters in our districts that could require the use of these funds. So, Madam Speaker, what I would like is to fully fund this at $23 million this year and $20 million next year. I would request a roll call vote.
Representative Jurgens requests a roll call. Are there 15 hands? Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Jurgens.
Madam Speaker, would Representative Lislegard yield for a question?
He's not on the floor presently. Would you like to ask another member to yield?
Representative Sundin, would he yield?
He will yield. Representative Jurgens.
Representative Sundin, if we finish our work here this session and we go home and there's a natural disaster in your area, straight line winds, how comfortable would you be having to leave your district to come back to St. Paul for a special session in order to appropriate the funds to react to that natural disaster?
The member from Carlton, Representative Sundin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I come down here several times during the year, and one more trip wouldn't bother me a bit.
Representative Jurgens.
Thank you, Representative Sundin, and I'm assuming that you're okay with the added cost of an unnecessary special session then, too. Madam Speaker, there may be others that want to speak on this, but I will conclude my comments for now. Thank you.
The member from Winona, Representative Pulowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. And I want to thank Representative Jurgens and the Republican caucus for their renewed enthusiasm in funding this account. We can argue why the account is at the level that it is, but it is at a level where now it has to be restored. So we're working on a recommendation from a letter from the Department of Public Safety in December of last year, sent to the leadership of the House and Senate, that there was an emergency and that we needed to restore the amounts. We have had 3 hearings in the Greater Minnesota Committee, 3 hearings just on these 2 chapters of law, chapters 12A and chapters 12B, so that the members of the committee and the body would have a thorough understanding of why these chapters were created and how they worked. And frankly, this amendment is an example of how we should not fund disasters. We have in the budget the recommendations both at the governor's level and at the House level from the Department of Public Safety and also from other agencies as to what should keep this account solvent, not only over this legislative session, but over the interim. We have poised, both in the budget of the House and the governor's budget, the funds that will be needed to carry us over the interim. I just did pass out one document about a special session. And if members want to look at it, here is the problem with special sessions. There is nothing special about a special session. The document I passed out is the agreement for the 2013 special session for disaster relief. Notice it's signed by everyone, Republican, Democrat, governor, and also notice that it has the word appropriation spelled 3 different ways in the first paragraph. When I do this presentation publicly, I tell the audience that if we can't spell appropriation, we ought not be able to do it. That's the problem with the special session. Now, the problem with this amendment is we're going to now start dictating, apparently, levels of funding for disasters. That was our problem in 2007 when we had the biggest disaster in the history of this state. We had a special session, frankly, where we didn't know what we were doing. And we threw money at everything, some too much, some too little. So I would hope that the members would vote against the amendment, that we would send this bill to the governor to restore solvency to the account, and I'm going to ask both the speaker and members, I think this is the way we should start to solve our problems, bill by bill. I think we should take them to the House floor, and if the speaker would allow, let's bring the next bill on the disaster account up on the House floor as soon as we have stability in the budgets and we know exactly what we're going to do. And we should debate it just like we're debating this one. Thank you.
The member from Traverse, Representative Backer.
Madam Speaker, members, thank you. Back in the beginning of 2007, I was mayor of Browns Valley, and we experienced the worst flood in our history. At that time, it was a benefit that we were the only community that had that flood event. And we're a small community, and there was a special appropriation of $2.2 million for our community. And at that time, my representative was Representative Paul Marquardt, and I worked with him along with Senator Langstaff on the Senate side. But one of the biggest challenges that we had during that is we were in session because it happened on the evening of March 13th, the morning of March 14th, where half our community flooded. It became a really political football game to get it passed. And Madam Speaker, would Representative Marquardt yield to a question?
He will yield. Representative Backer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Marquardt, do you recall in 2007 what got attached to what I call the Browns Valley flood bill? Do you recall what got attached to that bill?
The member from Clay, Representative Marquardt.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and members. Representative Backer, I do remember that morning or afternoon when you called on the flood. I remember that very distinctly, and we began working on that. If I remember right on that bill, there was attached a Representative Pepin provision. I think, was it Rogers that had a tornado at that time, if I'm remembering correctly. But I think we ended up adding both of those provisions to the bill, and I think originally about $2 million.
Representative Backer.
Yeah, that's correct. And why I bring that up is because when you're a mayor and you're going through a flood or a tornado or something like that, you do not want to be down at the Capitol or working with representatives. And again, Paul and I worked well together back then, and Senator Langstaff, and at that time Governor Pawlenty. Everybody came together, but we still had a political football game with it. And unfortunately, when you call a special session also, we have that political football. So I am standing in support of this bill from someone who's gone through it. It's bad enough when you're a mayor and you have to go through and helping your town, but then you also have to worry about, are you going to get the money to help appropriate that? One of the things that I'm a strong believer, we as government need to protect our citizens. And when you have a flood or a tornado, just like in Wadena several years ago, in 2010, you need your boots on the ground to solve the problem. You will be surprised when you're a mayor of a community and you have a disaster, everybody comes to you. The media comes to you, your representative, at that time Governor Pawlenty and his staff. We had all the news stations from Fargo come down. We had all the stations from Minneapolis. We had all the stations from Sioux Falls. Literally, our main street, I refer to as satellite Broadway. We had so much coverage, which was good, and I used that to our benefit for our community. But the fact that I'm saying is, as a mayor, as the local officials, you have a lot on your plate. And $10 million is just not enough, members. I was a mayor of a small community. We did 2.2. That was the bill that moved out of the House that time. $2.2 million for a community of about 700 people. Look what happened a couple years ago in southern Minnesota, that flooding that went all south. So I am in support of this amendment because I do not want other mayors or other communities go through the political football game that I went through. We got it through, but I had enough things on my plate instead of worrying about getting the funds that we needed. So I would ask members to vote green on this amendment. Thank you.
The member from Scott, Representative Albright.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I want to take you back to the fall, actually to the spring of 2013. I didn't realize at the time how important it would become to me to know such things as lake level for the 3 lakes in my district, as well as the soil saturation level in the ground around those lakes. But I'll tell you why. Because in the spring of 2013, we had back-to-back-to-back rainfall amounts that equated to about 15 or 16 inches of rain. Now, this was not a tornado. This was not straight line winds. This was not a natural disaster that comes and goes in an instant. This is the type of natural disaster that you see coming, and it keeps coming, and it keeps coming, and then it stays. And it stays for a really long time. And so you displace people in their homes, you displace businesses. You have to sandbag. Not only do you have to sandbag, but you have to find out who's got a little paddle wheel so you can take your groceries from the dry land to where your house is, because you can't get your car there, nor can you walk there because the water is probably over 4 feet deep. So when you talk about natural disasters and you think about flooding, and we are set up hydrologically for a similar event in my district, much the way that we were in the last time it occurred. And that water is going to stay for a really long time, unfortunately. And so why I'm concerned about the funding level that Representative Pawlowski has supported, and why I think the amendment that Representative Jurgen has put forth is even more important, is for kind of jealous reasons. Because when it occurred in my district, the problem is that we didn't know the full totality of the damage until the water receded. It's not like a tornado. When you can go out the day after and have your disaster relief analysts in and have your insurance appraisers come in and give you a check. This takes months. And not only that, but it requires, and I'm sure Representative Pawlowski will speak to this, it takes not only state, county, but also federal authorities to identify, one, what is the damage, and two, who's responsible. And then you have to go through the process of adjudicating the claims and waiting for them to come in. All the while, you're trying to sop water out of your carpet on your first floor and figure out how you're going to pay for it. Because I tell you what, when you suffer from a flood in your house, most cases, you don't have flood insurance. And unfortunately, this is a circumstance where we as a body have to figure out how to help some of those people out. So, Representative Jurgens, thank you for increasing the amount, and here's why. Because in the context of just what happened back the last time we invoked Chapter 12 of the Code, we had to back into the amount of money that we needed, unlike in other circumstances where we had the appraisals and we brought forward a bill. It took us until the following January when Representative Knobloch actually put it forward as the first bill in that session. It took us that long, and the flood occurred in June. People were waiting 5 and 6 months to get aid and get help. The total bill just for the Prior Lake area was over $35 million. So respectfully, I would ask that you give us a little more, excuse the pun, float in this account, so that if, in fact, what occurs again, what occurred just 6 years ago, we have the wherewithal to provide for the people that are hurt the most. Thank you, Madam.
The member from Goodhue, Representative Haley.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am equally very, very concerned about this account and making sure that it's fully flooded. All of my communities are along the Mississippi River and Lake Pepin and the Cannon Valley River. I have an Indian tribe that has already evacuated, Prairie Island Indian community, has already evacuated some elders. This week will tell a lot. I will be sandbagging Saturday throughout my community, and we'll know this week how bad it might get. I have a nuclear power plant. They have contingency plans to get workers in by boat. These are serious matters, and we need to be prepared, members. In Red Wing, little known fact, the Jordan River runs beneath the community of Red Wing, beneath our downtown businesses. So as these water tables rise, it's not just the river we're looking at, it's flooding into basements of businesses. The bridge that's currently under construction, the Highway 63 on the Wisconsin side, that's a low water mark. And if that floods, 30% of our workforce crosses that bridge to come to work. 30% of our retail shoppers cross that bridge to do commerce in our town. So this flooding will have multiple effects on homeowners, on our Indian community, our nuclear power plant, commerce throughout my entire district. It is critical that we are prepared, as Representative Jurgens said and Representative Albright said, to be prepared to meet these needs that we don't know right now how bad it can get. And the water is just going to continue to rise and the damage continue to happen. So I urge you all to support this amendment. I thank Representative Pawlowski for his work on this years prior to when I've been here, and for Representative Jurgens for the time he's put in to bring us this far. And I urge your passage of the amendment. Thank you, Madam Speaker and members.
The member from Roseau, Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, I wasn't going to speak on this bill today, but something changed my mind. Members, I started throwing sandbags in 1966 in Fargo. Representative Marquardt, you were a little younger than I am. You probably weren't throwing them quite yet then, but and I've done that many, many times over the years, including in the city of Roseau where I live. In the weekend of the state track meet in June of 2002, it started raining in my part of the state, and 16 to 24 inches later, it stopped. And Roseau fell victim to those storms. I was filling sandbags over in the Polaris plant parking lot because we had moved from downtown Roseau because we couldn't be there anymore. The floodwaters were coming so fast. I remember when we were in downtown Roseau filling sandbags, my son Jason was across the river over at a friend's house and into the parking lot at the time coming to get some sandbags and looking for a pump was a good friend of mine that lives about 5 miles south of Roseau in a small community called Malung. And they were frantically looking for sandbags and a pump. I said, "What's going on?" They said, "You cannot believe how fast Sucker Creek is coming up just where it enters into the Roseau River." So I said, "Well, I'll run to the golf course and see if I can find a pump, a 2-inch pump." And I grabbed it at the golf course and I took it out there. And by the time I got there, the sandbag dike that they had created had caved in, and their house was full of water in the basement. They didn't even have time to get their stuff out. Nobody anticipated how severe it was going to be. So I took the pump back to town, and when I got to town, by the time I got to town, we had moved the sandbagging operation from the parking lot in downtown Roseau to the Polaris plant. And we started filling sandbags there. My wife had tried to get my son Jason to go with my sister-in-law to go to the farm in the Grand Forks area, and Jason said, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay here." And then when I was at the parking lot at the Polaris plant filling sandbags, my cell phone rang. And my sister-in-law said, "Dan, the basement's filling with water." And I thought to myself, how in the world could this possibly have happened this fast? Well, the plug that we had put in when we took the toilet off downstairs, there was so much back pressure in the sewage system, it broke, popped loose. And I literally had a geyser in my basement coming out of the floor, and everything that gets flushed down a toilet was now coming into my basement. And my arms are about 34 inches long, and the geyser was coming up about 44 inches. So you can about imagine what that was like. So after we did that, when we got all done, we finished, and we got the water stopped, and by now we had about 20 inches of raw sewage in my basement. And many other homes in my neighborhood experienced the exact same thing. But we continued sandbagging because we had to save the rest of the town. We saved the hospital, the water treatment plant, and the Polaris plant, and the school. Those were the 4 priorities. Mayor Jeff Pulowski and the city council members and our emergency personnel responded and did a marvelous job. We even had people from Warroad and East Grand Forks coming to help us. That's what we do in rural Minnesota. We help each other. But we saved those facilities. But the problem is that after it was all done and the water receded, we now had a disaster on our hands, a mess of epic proportions. Try to imagine coming up with $30, $40, $50 million to rebuild your city. We couldn't do it. But we had a state representative, probably one of the best honors I've ever had in my life here in the legislature, is when former Chair Denny McNamara commented to me one day in the Environment Committee in my first term. He said, you know, Representative Fabian, there used to be a woman that sat in that exact same chair that you're sitting in right now, and she had the same passion for her community that you have. And that person was Maxine Pennis. And for those of you that were around when Maxine was here, she didn't take any prisoners. She used language that I probably won't use. In fact, I was just over at the University of Minnesota, as long as I've got the floor. I was over at the University of Minnesota today at the robotics competition. I wasn't going to talk about this, but something happened earlier, so I'm going to. The robotics competition is just awesome. You folks should go over there and watch that. We had high school from Warroad, Roseau, Thief River Falls, and Greenbush all competing in the robotics competition. And who invited me to come to that? Maxine Pennis's daughter, Mary Anderson, and her husband, Russ. They took me around, got to do some photographs. It was a great time. You should see all the kids over there on the floor of Mariucci Arena and on the floor of Williams Arena, the barn. It's awesome. If you haven't been over there, get over there because they're going to be going through Saturday. But Maxine was a valiant warrior for Roseau County during that flood. And I admire her a great deal, and I really am thankful to former Chair McNamara for extending that compliment to me. Members, we've had special sessions for disaster relief in 2013, 2012, 2010, 2007, and one in 2002 for the city of Roseau. Thank you, Maxine Pennis, and may God bless their memory. How much money was appropriated in 2002 for the disaster cleanup in Roseau? Oh, no. No. Lots more than that. Representative Winkler, would you yield to a question, please?
He will yield. Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Winkler, can you tell me how much money was appropriated in the special session of 2002 for disaster cleanup in Roseau?
Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, Representative Fabian, I cannot. I was not a member of the legislature, and I don't remember reading about it in the newspaper.
Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Carlson on the floor?
He is not.
Oh, darn it.
Well, the member from Hennepin, Representative Andrew Carlson, is on the floor.
Thank you.
Representative
Andrew Carlson. Would Representative Carlson yield to a question, please?
Oh, he will. He will. Representative Fabian.
Representative Carlson, can you tell me how much money was appropriated to the disaster cleanup in Roseau in 2002 in the special session?
Representative Carlson, A.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Fabian, I was hoping for a different question so I could stand up here longer and talk, but unfortunately I don't have the answer to your question.
Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If Representative Carlson A would continue to yield.
Representative A. Carlson will continue to yield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Carlson, have you been over to the University of Minnesota to observe the robotics competition that's going on?
To the Juergens Amendment, Representative Carlson.
Madam Speaker, Representative Fabian, no, it's been quite busy over here. I haven't had a chance.
Representative Fabian.
I didn't think so. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Carlson L. Would you yield to a question, please?
He will yield. Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Carlson in 2002. Now, you're kind of the historian in the chamber. You've been here longer than Mary Murphy, maybe even. No, about the same, I guess, right? Can you tell me how much money was appropriated for Roseau in the 2002 special disaster relief?
Member from Hennepin, Representative Carlson.
Madam
L.
Speaker, I suspect you know the answer to the question. Sometimes I've been labeled an historian, but I can't claim to remember everything. So I'll have to yield it back to you to answer the question, being that you're the representative Roseau.
Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know everyone's anxious to go home. I am too. I've got a 6.5-hour drive back to Roseau. Wasn't going to talk about this today, but I changed my mind. If you give me a minute, I'm looking at the bill here. I want to compliment Mayor Pulowski and the City Council in Roseau again. They did a great job. The citizens of Roseau and Roseau County, and thanks to the people in Thief River Falls and East Grand Forks and Ward that came to help us sandbag. Total appropriation in 2002 to public safety and others, $29,370,000. Representative Albright talked about insurance. How much insurance do you get for sewage backup, Representative Albright? Would Representative Albright yield to a question, please?
He will yield. Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Albright, do you know, you talked about insurance. Do you know what the standard policy provision is for sewer backup?
Representative Albright.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Fabian. You know, I don't know the specifics on it, but I know that it's pretty dirty work. So I don't. I do know that flood insurance is very difficult to get, and by the time that you decide you need it, it's too late. And in Prior Lake, specifically, where the flood occurred in the last time, a lot of people were not aware, based upon the appraisals or the lay of the land, that they were actually, their land was part of the floodplain itself. And when it came time to find out that they should have gotten flood insurance, it was too late. So I don't know the specifics on that, Representative Fabian. I know that just flooding is pervasive, and it tracks in where you wouldn't believe it goes.
Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, I know how much it is. It's $5,000. That's what my policy was. It doesn't come anywhere near covering the damage that happened in our home. So, Representative Pulowski, I appreciate you. You're a great man. I appreciate what you're doing in this effort. I do think that we need to up the amount based on just what I see historically, and that's not even factoring in inflation, what was done. So, with that, Madam Speaker, I would yield to the floor. Thank you.
The member from Waseca, Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. You know, we've heard a lot of stories about the damage flood occurs and so forth, and we all feel compassion and wanting to help in those particular areas. But I want to bring us back to kind of really the responsibility that we have here in the state legislature. And I know I don't need to share that with you, but maybe for those people that are listening and those that are viewing with us, we have primarily two responsibilities, and that is to appropriate dollars that are given to us by the taxpayers and to develop policies. And we do that in consultation with agencies and with testifiers and the public out there. Now, I want you to remember that word, in consultation, not at the direction of. And we've had some earlier discussion about the fact that this dollar amount is what the agencies and the departments say is enough to cover us into the next year. But I'm not sure that their crystal ball is any better than ours in what's going to happen with future funding needs. I could tell you that it's much better to have a larger reserve not need it than to have too small a reserve and really need the extra dollars. And so this is a situation for us to review. I also really understand that funding level at the current level of the bill from the Senate is certainly a lot easier for us to deal with in this year's budget, and that it makes it easier to accomplish the budget targets and so forth. Whereas when we get into a special session, all of that kind of gets washed away, and we may have to spend money out of reserves and whatever, and then we don't have to worry about budget targets. And so I understand that there's a benefit of doing it that way. However, we risk then the time lag of getting the funds to the people that are necessary for dealing with those either flood issues or other disaster related. It's not always just floods. So the question that I would say is what do you see as our responsibility? Where do you think our level of reserves ought to be for into the future, and whether or not we think $10 million is enough? And so I'd please ask for a green vote, because I believe it's better for us to have those funds available, especially when we know we're already sucking air, shall we say, in our funding, and we need to already use some of those dollars to replenish the loss. So please consider that and vote green. Thank you.
The member from Polk, Representative Keel.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Representative Pawlowski, thank you very much for bringing this forward. It's very important. I'll spare you most of my flood stories, but I grew up along a small creek, so every year that was an event. That just was the way it was, and we learned how to function either in a rowboat or in the back of a tractor to get to the school bus. But in '97, we talked about the 2000 year the floods in 2000 and past. But in 1997 was much like this year. We've got a lot of snow. Up north, if you don't remember, it has to melt north of us because all of our water collects and goes north to Winnipeg. And so the ice backs up, and in the Red River Valley, water does not run very well. It's flat. It's like a table. So if you pour water on the table, it runs everywhere. And that's what happens. So in '97, we were very astute in getting our community protected, and my husband and I do our farm first because it's one of the creeks that runs in to the Red River that runs through Crookston. And Crookston was spared. But we got the call, and we went in and started sandbagging because East Grand Forks was in trouble. And they needed more sandbags. And so at midnight, I remember I, along with thousands of other people, were busy sandbagging, and trucks were running the sandbags to East Grand Forks, which is about 30 miles away. And the gentleman came back with an empty truck and said to us, "Go home, get some sleep. They're going to be coming." And coming they did. East Grand Forks citizens, the roads were just full. They had to flee their homes quickly. The dike had busted, and they were now looking for places to stay. And so early in the morning, I went back to my church, and we started setting up places for people to sleep and feed them. And one thing I want to make, the point I want to make is it is so important to be ready for those dollars that are going to be needed if, in fact, there's a flood, because there are so many people that are so, it moves so fast. Same is true of a tornado. One day you're fine, the next day you've got major problems. But we in Minnesota need to be able to be ready to help those that have those disasters at a given time. It's more pressing this year because we see all the snow that is on the ground, and we don't know. We certainly, members, I would thank everyone for the flood mitigation dollars we have put in long ago. So we'll see this year whether East Grand Forks will be protected. They've got beautiful flood walls, and they're hoping they're going to be fine. But we don't know that. And so we need to be ready, because when that happens, like Representative Baker referred to, the mayors, the leadership in those communities are really scrambling to try and help everyone. And some have families they can go to, but many do not. And I can tell you it was rewarding but heartbreaking in the same to look at those people who had nothing. I remember a gentleman who came in with no shoes, don't know how he lost his shoes. He had realized he left his wallet in his own home, and he had no identification. It was devastating to him. And so there's a lot of things that happen when flooding happens, and we just want to make sure that we're ready to be able to help whatever community it is at the time. And so I would urge our members to support Representative Jurgens' amendment, because I think we need to be prepared for what may come. Thank you.
The member from Stearns, Representative Tice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're talking a lot about what's happened in the past, but this last Saturday evening during dinner hour, there was a flash flood at one of the nightclubs that are in our area. It was actually quite traumatic to a lot of folks. There was an ice jam that let loose on the Sauk River. So while these folks are out whining and dining, all of a sudden, they got flooded in. And they had about 3 or 4 fire departments that had to come and help them get out. They actually had little boats that they were taking the patrons out with. So it's not necessarily anything we're talking about in the years previously. We're talking about right now. And I just want to make sure that we can help everybody who has the unfortunate flooding, flash flooding that Anton's did. Thank you.
The member from Olmsted, Representative Quam.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. When I got married and started my family, some of the advice I had was to have a rainy day fund. I'm not sure exactly where it got the name, but I think that's because you never know when a storm may come, the roof might leak, or other things might happen. When I came in as a freshman, our reserve and cash flow accounts totaled in I think a few $100,000, and we had budget deficits. And since then, we've been very good at building up the cash flow and the reserve funds. We've got a couple $2 billion, I believe, now between them. It's past time that we think about having a sufficient rainy day fund so that we can go ahead. If we're not in session, out of session, we have the money available when disaster comes. And we have adequate amount of money available. Now, we react fairly quickly in the legislature. We have special sessions. But frankly, the intelligent thing to do is have a true rainy day fund so that when disaster comes, the money's there. The people can automatically, right when things are happening, have funds available to take care of getting emergency supplies and whatever is required to mitigate the harm to our citizens, the risk to our citizens, the risk to our communities. Now, I like that we're doing the 10 million. But frankly, if you have been around long enough, you realize that some events, that won't be enough. And if we have built up, over $1 billion in the reserve, I think it's just common sense and prudence to have an adequate amount of money in our rainy day disaster fund. And I think this is what the amendment does, is make sure that we've got sufficient funds in there that if a big event comes, we can respond quickly. We don't have to scurry and do a special session. That's just a little bit of advice from my part of the country.
Other than members who've already spoken to the Jurgens amendment, any other member who desires to be recognized on the amendment? The member from Winona, Representative Pulowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, the discussion today is a curious one because it acts as if Chapter 12A and Chapter 12B don't exist. Chapter 12A was created after the 2007 disaster, which is still the largest disaster in the history of the state, because we had no plan. This amendment is an example of how we funded disasters. We threw money at things, and we made sure that there was language in something about something that we really didn't understand. After that disaster, and I was the one that had to carry the bill for 9 hours during that special session that was not so special, I decided that we needed to have a plan. So what happened was, every 2 weeks in my office, a member of Governor Pawlenty's staff, House Research, and I was chairing government operations at the time, reviewed a series of protocols to create Chapter 12A. There were 13 drafts every 2 weeks, 13 drafts with 13 agencies, with every local unit of government, to ensure everyone understood if there was a disaster, this is what's going to happen. This is what the people of Minnesota can expect. This is what the townships, the counties, the cities, the school districts can expect. And when the 2008 session started and we met in the governor's office, and by the way, Governor Pawlenty, if you remember, was a Republican, we had all of the commissioners there, and they took a look at the bill. Final changes were made, it was introduced, and it was signed. That was the first time in the history of the state we had a plan. This amendment acts as if there's no plan. There is a plan, and it has been successful. Now, in 2012, the legislative auditor took a look and said, the disasters were coming at us so fast, and they weren't all national. And as many of you have said, they happened in cities or counties and areas that we needed another type of disaster, a disaster that would be called by the governor and that we would need an account. And that account would start a series of protocols, which is in 12A and 12B, and that the aid would come instantly. This account was never set up to pay for whole disasters. It was set up to start a series of payments that would ensure we got help to people as fast as we possibly could. And it was also set up so that we would not have those very special sessions that aren't so special. So this amendment goes back to a time before 12A and 12B. The money that's in the bill and the money that we're looking at in the budgets of the governor and the House, we are working with two levels here, both the state and the federal government. When these protocols are put in place, they are in concert with the federal government and FEMA. So members, for once, I'm going to ask you to be a statesperson. Don't support the amendment, support the bill. We have another bill coming that will make this fund stable over the interim and will prevent special sessions. And if you're not going to support the bill for any other reason, support it for the chief clerk and his staff, who during a special session bear the burden of everything that we put on them in a 24-hour period. So I would ask, defeat the amendment, and let's move to the bill. Let's get it to the governor's desk. And then, Madam Speaker, I hope we can bring the next part to the floor as soon as possible.
Member from Hennepin, Representative Winkler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I would urge you to vote against the Juergens amendment. I think it's an instructive moment in session. Under Rule 4.03, the Committee on Ways and Means has adopted budget targets, a budget resolution. So this amendment is in order. It is in order to take it up at this time. It doesn't violate the rules, but it does take money out of the committee's target. And so the $43 million total ends up coming out of Representative Pawlowski's target in his committee. The other issue besides disaster in his committee is broadband. So by going over the dollar amount, we take money out of broadband for statewide programs. So that would be the effect of adopting this amendment. It would be pulling money out of Representative Pawlowski's target that would otherwise go to broadband. And we have a very strong history of supporting people in floods and disasters. We are all very cognizant of the importance of doing that and what we could be looking at this year and in future years. Representative Pawlowski has done an incredible job over the years of structuring a section of law that works and deals with a constant problem that we have here. And so I think, members, we should respect that process, respect the committee process, and understand that if we adopt this amendment, we end up shortchanging another area of the budget and not respecting the work that Representative Pawlowski has done in this area over the years. And I think it has been a model of what good legislation looks like.
The member from Roseau, Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And just one other note, members, we're still trying to pick up after the flood in 2002. I have a bill in the Public Safety Committee that hasn't been given a hearing, and it's for $1.5 million to finish the cleanup in Roseau and the damage that was done to our ditch system on the claims. And you can talk to the people over at the State Disaster Office, HSEM or whatever, I'm sorry. I don't have the acronym on the top of my mind here. But it hasn't been given a hearing in public safety. And hearing some of the things that I've heard in committee recently, I'm not sure that the chairs have the authority to grant some hearings. So, Madam Speaker, I'm wondering if Representative Winkler would yield to a question, please.
He will yield. Representative Fabian.
Representative Winkler, I have House File 1937. I'm wondering if you're familiar with that and if you would be willing to work with me to get a hearing on that.
Representative Winkler.
Madam Chair, Representative Fabian, if you could remind me what that House file is. I believe, is it the one that you had the motion on earlier today? No, it's a different one.
Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. No, it's the one that I was just referring to. I think you were busy talking to somebody else. It's for disaster. We're still trying to clean up from the flood in Roseau in 2002. And it's for $1.5 million to finish some of the work that's been denied by the federal, FEMA. And, you know, we've kind of chipped away at it a little bit over the years. It's been through the Ways and Means Committee. And Chair Carlson assigned it to the Public Safety Committee, but I haven't been giving a hearing yet. And I'd like a hearing on it. So, Madam Speaker, my question is will you work with me and Chair Lesh to get a hearing on this?
He will yield. Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, Representative Fabian, I assume that you have requested a hearing with the chair, and I would urge you to follow up with the chair and request a further hearing and decide whether or not that's the right place for those funds to come from. Obviously, we have budget targets now, and chairs have to work within limited means, but I certainly would encourage you to participate with the committee as much as possible, and we try to be as fair as we can to accommodate all members' needs here.
Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. But that wasn't my question. My question is will you work with me and Chair Lesh to get me a hearing in the Public Safety Committee?
Are you asking him to yield again?
If he would yield to that question, please.
He will yield again. Representative Winkler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Fabian, it's not my role to tell the chair whether he has to hear your bill or not. I would encourage you to do that. I assume that he has a fair process for determining whether bills will be heard in committee or not. And I would ask you to do that and not ask for leadership to weigh in.
Representative Fabian.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to clarify, it was Chair Mariani is the chair of the Public Safety Committee, and I will talk to him again. Thank you.
The maker of the motion, the author of the amendment, Representative Jurgens.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for the comments from everyone. I would like to go back and just address a couple things. First of all, Representative Fabian, I believe you asked the wrong Tony to yield for a question on homeowners insurance. I'm not going to go into detail, but homeowners insurance is not flood insurance. Yes, you can buy an endorsement on your homeowner's policy, but that still only covers it if it comes up through the sewer and drain, not if it's flood. So whether you buy $5,000 or $10,000 and it comes in, seeps in through your basement, it doesn't matter because that's not covered. You can buy National Flood Insurance Program coverage. The coverage is expensive, it's limited, and as somebody said, you generally, by the time you know you need it, it's too late. And Representative Pawlowski, there's nothing in my amendment that amends 12A or 12B. Nothing. It's a good program. It was a well thought out program and it has worked. But the problem is when the funds run out, it's as if the program doesn't exist because there's no funding available. So we just need to ask ourselves, would you rather appropriate more money than you need and not need it, or appropriate take too little and wish that you had more. I think all of us, the prudent answer is we would rather that we have enough in that fund. We don't know when the natural disasters are going to come, but we know they will. If we appropriate $23 million this year and we only need 10, that's terrific. 13 will carry over for next year. We know there will be disasters, we just don't know when. This funding isn't the silver bullet or a panacea, it's about preparedness. And with a $1 billion budget surplus, I think it's the appropriate time for that preparedness. And as for whether or not using the dollars would impact broadband or something else, there's money left in Ways and Means that could be appropriated. So that just comes down to a matter of choice. And I hope that you choose to vote yes on this amendment, because I think that the $10 million in the bill is a good start. It's better than zero. It's better than being negative. But in my opinion, it's woefully inadequate. So members, please vote green on the amendment.
The clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 47 ayes and 80 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There are no further amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, Senate File number 307.
Third reading. The member from Dakota, Representative Garofalo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I'll be voting green on this bill today, but more importantly to me, I want to thank the Speaker and the Majority Leader for bringing this bill separately by itself. There has been an 18-year tradition, it's been bipartisan in this institution, that there have been fewer and fewer bills, there have been more and more consolidation of individual bills and less single subjects. I recognize the fact that bringing forward an individual bill without a cap on it in a budget, with the budget target, does provide opportunity for the minority party to offer amendments. It actually is one of the few mechanisms by which the minority can identify its priorities in spending. And I recognize that under both parties' leadership, this is something that we do not have enough of. And I hope that this is the beginning of a trend that we will see restored to the Minnesota House, that will see more individual subject bills. So members, I'll be voting green on this today, and I would encourage you to do so as well. Thank you.
The member from Fillmore, Representative Davids.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. And I want to thank Chair Pawlowski for his efforts, not just today, not just this year, but going back to 2007, when Fillmore and Houston counties had the largest disaster in state history. Representative Pawlowski, I was on my 45 vote 2-year vacation at that time, but I still follow things very, very closely. And Chair Pawlowski, working on chapters 12A and 12B, has done a wonderful job, and I thank you so much, Chair Pawlowski.
The member from Wabasha, Representative Drzeskowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Would the Ways and Means Chair yield?
He will yield. Representative Drzeskowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Carlson, we heard earlier a comment from Representative Pawlowski, which I agreed with. This is the kind of bill that we should be bringing across the floor, something that isn't encumbered with all kinds of different language. It's clear for the people to understand. We heard the same discussion from Representative Garofalo just a bit ago. As we move forward with the budget process, can you assure us that these finance bills won't contain policy language as well, so that we have budget bills that are crisp, clean, and to the point and transparent for Minnesotans?
The member from Hennepin, Representative Carlson.
Madam Speaker, Representative Drazkowski, it is my hope that the language in those bills would be mainly devoted to supporting the appropriations in the various bills. We have no plans to do what, I don't know how to identify your two caucuses over there right now, but putting forth a 900 and some page bill with all kinds of unrelated policy issues. We're not going to go in that direction. Thank you.
Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, Representative Carlson, thank you for that. And I hope we do have budget bills that don't have policy language that's not related to the budget items in it. And as we discussed at the end of session last year, we've discussed at the beginning of session this year, the omnibus violations of our Constitution single subject clause have been numerous in our history, including last year, including 2013 or 14 when the Democrats were in control, and we might have had a 990-page bill last year. There was a 880-page bill that time before that, or something like that. So it's very clear it doesn't matter who is in control. There is a propensity for this legislature to put forward those types of bills. So I appreciate your comments, Representative Carlson, Representative Pawlowski. Not only do I appreciate your comments about being transparent to people and that this is an excellent example for that, I would like to thank you again, as others have, for your leadership. And I do remember very clearly the 2007 flood when that Representative Davids just talked about, the efforts that we put forward. And Representative Pawlowski, you're right, it was a mess then. The law and understanding how we approached disasters. When we got here during that 2007 flood, and I had been elected 7 days earlier, we got here and didn't know what to make of where to go. And you're right, there was some areas, there was money spent that shouldn't have been spent, some areas that maybe money should have been spent a little smarter. Your work and leadership in this area has brought us to a point, I think, that is light years ahead of where we were then. Certainly, as I know your work ethic and your focus in this area, it'll continue to get better over time. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member from Washington, Representative Juergens.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will be voting yes on this. $10 million, as I said, is better than zero. I want to thank Representative Pawlowski for the work that you've done with 12A and 12B. I think it's good legislation, and I look forward to seeing the future bills that you mentioned, the funding, whether it's in omnibus bills or wherever that comes from, before we leave session. So I will be voting green.
Further discussion to the bill. The author, the member from Winona, Representative Pawlowski.
Members, let us get this to the governor, and then let's move to the next phase that is needed to make the account solvent.
The clerk will take the roll on the bill. The clerk will close the roll. There being 127 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to.